For most of us, our home is the single biggest asset we will ever own. It's way more than just a place to live, it's this massive financial investment. But that investment comes with some serious risks. And honestly, understanding those risks is the absolute first step to protecting it.
So let's just kick things off with a number that might surprise you. Take a look at this. 1 in 15. According to the data, that's how many insured homes file an insurance claim every single year. Yeah, it's probably way more common than you thought, which makes knowing what you're up against absolutely critical.
Okay, so knowing a claim is pretty common is one thing. But the real question is, what are the most likely threats? What are the things that actually happen to homeowners like you and me? Well, in this explainer, we're going to break down the most common claims, what they cost, and what you really need to know.
Here's the game plan. We'll start by splitting claims into their two main types. Then, we'll count down the top 5 claims you might face. We're going to do a special deep dive on water damage, because trust me, it's full of tricky details. And then we'll wrap it all up with how you can protect your biggest asset.
All right, first things first. Pretty much every home insurance claim you can think of falls into one of 2 major buckets. Just think of it like 2 different worlds. Damage that happens to your stuff and damage that happens because of you.
And wow, this chart really puts it all in perspective. Just look at that massive purple section. Data from the Insurance Information Institute shows that a whopping 97.3% of all claims are for property damage. Liability, that tiny little blue sliver, it's barely a fraction of the total. So let's just spell this out. On the left, you've got property damage. That's for damage to your house and your belongings. Like a storm-damaged roof or a burst pipe. Then on the right, you've got liability. That's when you're responsible for harm to other people. Like if a guest slips on your icy steps or your dog decides the mail carrier looks like a chew toy.
Okay, now that we've got those 2 categories straight, let's get to the main event. What are the top 5 reasons homeowners are actually picking up the phone and calling their insurance company? Let's count them down.
Coming in at number 1, it's not even close, is damage from wind and hail. This category covers the whole shebang, from a few shingles getting blown off in a thunderstorm to, catastrophic damage from a hurricane or a tornado. And the scale of this is just staggering. Just look at this chart. Wind and hail aren't just one of the risks. They account for 42.5% of all property damage claims. It is, without a doubt, the single biggest threat to your home.
So what's the price tag on something like that? Well, the average wind and hail claim is just over $13,500. That's a serious number, for sure. But as you're about to see, it's the sheer frequency, not just the cost, that puts this one at the top of the list.
All right. Our number 2 most common claim is water damage and freezing. Now, this is important. We are specifically talking about non-weather-related water. So we're not talking about floods here. We're talking about the water that comes from inside your house.
And just to give you an idea of how often this happens, about 1 in 60 insured homes files a claim for water damage from stuff like burst pipes or appliance failures every single year. It's a ridiculously common household problem. And the cost? Well, the average claim is nearly $14,000, making it just a little bit more expensive on average than a wind and hail claim. Now, water can do a whole lot of expensive damage, and it does it fast.
So, the 3rd most frequent claim is for fire and lightning. And while it happens less often than wind or water issues, this is the one that is by far the most severe in terms of just pure financial devastation. And this number right here explains why. The average cost of a fire and lightning claim is a staggering $84,000. That is more than 6 times the cost of the average wind or water claim. It's a less common event, but man, it is a truly catastrophic one.
Claim number 4 is kind of the catch-all category. This is for all the other strange and totally unexpected ways your property can get damaged, from the stuff that's kind of mundane to things that are truly bizarre.
And some of the examples are pretty wild. A truck hitting your house, a stray baseball through the window, or a tree falling. Sure, those happen. But policies have also covered things as strange as blue ice. Yep, that's frozen waste falling from an airplane, crashing right through someone's roof. It's the category for the truly unexpected. And finally, we get to claim number 5, liability. Remember, this is that tiny slice of the pie we saw earlier. These claims are way less frequent than property damage, but they can be unbelievably expensive.
These are claims where you get held responsible for someone else's injury or their property damage. A slip and fall is the classic example, but it also includes stuff like your dog biting someone, a tree from your yard falling on your neighbor's car, or even a contractor getting hurt while working on your house.
Okay, now let's circle back to water damage for a second, because there's a really critical distinction here that trips up a ton of homeowners. In the world of insurance, not all water damage is created equal. Not even close. This is probably the single most important thing to understand about your policy. It covers damage that is sudden and accidental. So, a pipe that suddenly bursts and floods your basement, you're covered. But a slow, tiny leak from that exact same pipe that rots the wall over 6 months, that's seen as a maintenance issue, and it's almost always excluded. Sudden and accidental. Those are the magic words you have to remember. So let's look at where this stuff actually happens. These are some of the most common hidden culprits. You've got sudden high-pressure failures, like a washing machine hose just letting go. But then you have those slow, sneaky leaks from an ice maker line that can rot your floor before you even see a single drop. It can even happen outside your home, with tree roots crushing a sewer line, or inside with a simple clog in your HVAC causing a ceiling to come crashing down.
Okay, so now that you know what you're up against, what can you actually do about it? Knowing the risks is half the battle, so let's talk about the other half, taking action and making sure your insurance is actually there when you need it.
So what can you do? Here are the key takeaways. First, regularly inspect those appliance hoses and pipes for any signs of wear and tear. Second, keep your gutters clear. Get that water away from your foundation. Third, deal with small problems like a tiny roof leak immediately before they become big, uncovered disasters. Fourth, and this is a big one, take the time to actually read your policy and understand what's excluded. And finally, check in with your agent once a year to make sure your coverage still makes sense for your life.
So I'll just leave you with this thought. Your insurance policy knows the difference between a sudden disaster and a slow leak. The real question is, do you? Because being prepared for both, well, that's the mark of a truly protected homeowner.